All right, good morning. I know for some of you it's good afternoon, for others it's good evening. Welcome to this week's office hours. And of course, we meet every Thursday, 9 a.m. Pacific time. This is one of the perks, one of the exciting benefits of being a Prosper Leader member. And the purpose of it is a place that you can come together. And we love celebrating your wins. I love sharing things going on and how I can support you in moving forward, but it's the place for you to come together and glean from each other, get your questions answered, have us look, have us give you feedback, whatever you're working on. And this is where we truly press into the sisterhood of supporting each other. So there is a reaction thing on the bottom where you can raise your hand. I go in the order of how you raise your hand. In case I don't see all of your pictures at the same time. So that's the best way to put yourself at the front of the line. I feel really led to open with prayer. And then I want to make sure I'm answering your questions. And then I want to share, just kind of a state of the union in a sense of business, state of the business world and what's happening and what's super important right now to keep you at the front, the forefront in what you do. Okay, so let's open with prayer and then we'll go right into it. Father, I thank you for this community. I thank you that in 2020, when everybody else was drawing back in fear, you said, we are not those who draw back in fear. And you said, gather the women. And you showed me women linking arms and supporting each other, almost carrying each other across their personal finish lines. Together, everyone achieves more. We are the body. We are the body of Christ, and every part of the body is important, and every part of the body needs each other. And you've been drawing me recently into the verse to forsake not the gathering together. And I believe as as the economy contracts, as sales take on a whole different dimension, the buying cycle expands, I believe that it's never been more important for us to gather. So Lord, I thank you for those verses in the word. I thank you for these beautiful women. I thank you for this opportunity to serve and for us to collectively walk this out. So we give you all glory, all honor, all praise. I ask that wisdom flows freely, creative solutions flow freely, love flows freely, unity, and we give thanks in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Okay, let me get people out of the waiting room here and bring them on in. All right. Anybody have their hand raised, or do you want me to jump on in? Because I'm certainly capable of doing that as well. Anybody have some things they want support with? Okay, Karen, wonderful. I'm going to bring you.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna do like joys. Sorry, I'm thinking. Not support. Can I share wins?
Yeah, absolutely. We love wins. We want to celebrate wins. Please, please,
Oh,
please.
oh, okay. Well, I found the core with a lot of praying, a lot of thought, a lot of like what kind of like a methodology of how I got sober, how I stay sober, how I have a healthy life. I have so many people come up to me, how do you do it? How did you do it? And I've always been like, so now I have the return method, which is really based on a workbook I started a few months ago that I was calling the How Workbook, Honest, Open, and Willing. But I kind of worked with it like, is there a formula? Is there something easy, an acronym I can have that people will remember and be able to use it step by step? So it's the return method. And I'm really excited. I shared it with Brenda yesterday. She was like, oh my God.
I'm
I was
super,
like,
super excited. And I'm so glad that you brought that forward. I want to celebrate you. Congratulations. And I also want to clarify for all of you watching and anybody watching the recording, what she has done. Okay, she's got a name to it. It's the return method and it's an acronym. what I want you to understand that she's really done that is so important that each and every one of you need to have done if you haven't already is she has established a framework. We call this a framework, okay? Think about the human body. We have a frame. It's our skeleton, right? It is our frame. And everything inside is protected by that frame. Our organs are protected by that frame. The frame keeps us upright. The frame keeps us able to move. The frame protects us, from the outside. And the same is true for your business. You need a frame. And if you have not yet gotten clear on that, and here's one way you're going to know it's clear. So the frame provides the framework for everything you do. Okay. And so examples. Okay. Most classic example right now at this moment. Okay. Many of you have attended my 5-day series. Whether it was bold moves or total soul prosperity or, all of those, right? Rooted to rise. And all of those series, different theme, different angle, they were all built on my frame, on my framework, which is the Prosper system, PROSPER, which is the process. Your framework is your process of how you take, each of you are here to solve a problem. Business is about solving a problem. And so you're taking your clients from Pain Island or from Egypt, if we use a biblical metaphor, to Pleasure Island or the Promised Land. You're solving a problem. You're taking them from here to here, and your framework is how you do that. And so, first of all, Karen, I just want to congratulate you. You did it. You kept going back to it. And how I knew you had hit it and how I know each one of you has hit it is finally she gets the aha, and you will too. She's like, I wanted to cry. She goes, I suddenly got it. I could explain what I do. I knew what I was doing. My offer, I felt confident, right? And this is what happens when you have a framework and you're going to use it for just about everything. So, like, for example, okay, those 5-day series, each day was part of my framework. It's taking people through a process. Right now, I'm so excited. I cannot wait to share with you all. I feel like I'm having my 4th baby. My book is about to, go to the publisher by the 15th. And this is a very comprehensive, but it's built on a framework. So there's a premise for the book, and it is that you can have total soul prosperity. I won't go into depth right now, but how do you get total soul prosperity? How do you prosper physically, financially, relationally, spiritually, which is my message, my life lesson to teach, right? Prosper in all things. And so that framework, that PROSPER becomes the chapters. It becomes the step forward. So whether you're leading an event or you're doing a coaching program or you're writing a book, this framework will keep you on track. It'll keep you from running on tangents and chasing everything. So Karen, thank you for bringing that up. I celebrate you. I love your framework. It's perfect for what you do. And you now know how to build out. You can add the flesh to whatever it is, whether it's your membership, your coaching, you know where to guide them, everything, events. So, woo, let's give Karen a snap. Super, super, super excited.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome, awesome. I'm so glad you brought that up. I meant to, and I forgot. So that was divine. All right, Jennifer,
what return stands for?
Say it again.
Can she say what return stands
Sure.
for?
Do you want to give your letters?
Yes, I can. Return. R is reveal the hurt. So what happened? Who hurt me? What did I need and not receive? Reveal the hurt. E is examine the meaning. What belief did I form and what fear started taking root? T is trace the mask. How did I cope or hide? U is uncover the truth. What's real now? What's the truth? R is release the fear. and N is nurture the real me. So it's moving like basically it's the fourth step of AA is going back into your history and going through your life with all your resentments and realizing at certain points in your life you had a misconception about what was happening. And you also started wearing a mask to get you through some situations. So it's really unveiling who you are at your core. So it's the method.
Okay. And I want to bring up one more thing that's so good for this to work. To have the framework, backing up a step, you have to know your niche so well. You cannot waver on your niche. And we talked about that too in coaching. Karen's in coaching as well. And that's when I can just intimately, look at these things. And so we talked, there's always going to be a temptation that someone else comes outside of your niche and goes, well, can't you help me? And you get tempted to expand and go over here and try to catch all, and you're afraid of leaving someone out. And that's a mistake. And so we keep her in her niche. That is who she knows she can give success to. She's walked it, she's done it, she relates, she understands. So it goes. And so she's dealing with women in recovery, right? And women in the rooms, what she's created. So the framework is the process that she takes her niche through. So good question. Thank you guys for asking that. All right, let me grab you, Jennifer. Excited to hear your questions. Let me bring you over here where I can see you. All right, what's up for you?
Well, my question to you is also maybe Karen can answer it, but I was wondering if you could give me like 4 examples of unique value propositions. So, what was that for you, Karen, as well? But then if you could give me some more examples.
Okay, that's a super good question. And rather than me answer, I will answer, but I would love, because this is something all of you need to know and do, like your framework. So your framework, this all fits together. This is very divine how it's all coming together, right? So, it starts with, of course, your vision and your mission. These are things I do with you in a breakthrough intensive, right? We get so clear on that. Moves to your niche, okay? And when you know, and only when you know your niche, can you know their problems and they're now problems that you solve. And only when you know your niche and the now problems that you solve, can you know how you go about it uniquely. And that's called, in sales, it's called a USP, unique selling proposition. Okay. You all should know who you help, how you help them, and how you do it uniquely. Okay. So I would love, this is a great opportunity. You guys can all, you ladies can just pipe in. Do you know, are you clear? And can you tell us what your USP is? That's a great exercise, Jennifer. I'm glad you're bringing that up. Who can tell Jennifer your USP? Either raise your hand or just speak up.
Will you say again what USP stands for? Unique
selling proposition. Unique selling proposition.
Meaning
What's
like
unique?
workshops and everything that I'll be building off of this then.
Say it again, Karen.
Oh, meaning the workshops and everything that I'll be building off of this. Yeah, because this lends itself to worksheets, workbooks. It really just gives me something to teach people. And like I said, people ask me all the time. Now I have the method. So now it creates a whole thing of like classes, a workshop. It just it gave me basically the core, the very core and heart of the women. The heart is the women. But the core is like now they can really learn a method and really,
Let me back you up, Karen, for just a second. I apologize interrupting because this is an important question. And I see that it was brought up for each of your sake, because none of you are just like jumping on it. And by next call, I want you like just jumping on it. Okay. So unique, this is your unique selling proposition is what's distinguishing you from the noise and everything out there. Okay, what's different about you? Now, I'm going to jump in for Karen because I'm coaching her and I know what it is. And Karen, I want you to communicate this. Okay, let's look at her niche. People that have struggled with addiction. Okay, you all following? All right. Now, where do they normally go? This is your market analysis of your competition. Where do they normally go? They go to a 12-step program. Okay. So most commonly known AA or NA or one of those, right? Okay. Karen saw, and this is where your USP comes, you see, she saw a hole in that. There's some needs that are not being met there that she became the answer for. She developed women in the rooms. So Karen, I need you to be brief because this is your exercise. Okay, because I want you practicing being brief out there. What's different? Women in the room. What problem is it solving that the 12 steps are not? And then 12 steps are valid. They got you where you are. Everyone is. I mean, that, your competition is doing valid things, right? You're not the only one out there. But what did you bring uniquely?
It's a safe, supportive community for women, but it goes beyond putting down the substance or the bottle. It's an emphasis on emotional and spiritual growth, where most recovery programs, online or in the AA program, are really stuck back in the problem. This is more the living of life. Okay, I do have to practice it, but basically that is the niche.
No, but I
So
love
I'll add
the
in
first thing
that
that came out of your mouth. You said it goes beyond just putting
Beyond,
down the bottle.
yeah.
I want you to be able to say it that quickly, that simply.
Yeah. Okay.
and also Brenda has called this the big promise.
Yes. Yes. Good listening. Somebody's been studying, Jennifer. I love that. Okay. Yes, it is your big promise. It's the problem you solve. It's your big promise. It's your USP. All right. Jennifer, have you worked on yours? Can you share yours? First,
Well,
give us a background. Tell us your niche. Tell us what problem you're solving and then how you're doing it uniquely.
Well, that's what I'm working on.
Okay.
And so that's why I asked the question.
Good, okay.
And, it's really hard when you've got, too many balls in the air.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I'm honing. And, my niche, I think, is women, Christians, 30 to 60. So I'm starting to hone it down, but I'm not 100% there. And I'm looking at a variety of problems. So I'm
Yes.
still trying to get to what do I actually offer and what is that big
Okay.
promise and where
It
can I
is
help?
your next step, Jennifer, and you
Yeah.
will benefit. And most in this have done this. They can tell you will benefit so much from an intensive. Okay. And because this is the first step that catapults everybody. I've done an intensive with almost everybody you see on the windows.
So
And
do you have some examples of other people's or your, what is the unique selling or value proposition you called it?
oh yeah, I mean, we've worked on that just about everybody in the room. So 100%. I'm thinking about Renee right now. She's not here. But she bridged two amazing experiences. She comes out of Silicon Valley and she's got a high tech and very corporate executive in the tech world background. And she's been in health advocacy. And she bridged those things uniquely to bring a level of care that is an app. Okay. And I'll let her talk about it when she comes on, but has completely changed how people can access healthcare, to have vetted healthcare at their fingertips. I mean, there's just so much to it. So it's so unique. I mean, I think she's going for like 15 million in funding. We're building this app. I believe it'll be $1 billion company. So I've got people I'm working with all the way from, just starting to, in the high 7s and 8 figures. We've had to do it with each other. So that would be an example. Another example that I shared recently with you all is taking something that you think is your weakness and actually making it your USP. Now, this was one of the rare cases where I coached a male and I did an intensive for a male. And because I get that too, I know I don't fit in your niche, but can you help me? Well, I'll do an intensive for you. Okay. His was very interesting. So he was moving from the public sector to being a consultant. And I've done that with a lot of people, moving from public, okay, or nonprofit world or government into consulting. And he's got a huge education, great knowledge. He had been primarily behind the scenes equipping the leaders who were in the front. What was his gift? What was he bringing them? How to make data-driven decisions. Now, when he came to do his intensive with me, he thought that was a weakness. He's like, how am I going to show up at the front when I've been in the back? And I'm like, got it. This is your USP. You go now to the leaders that you're going to be consulting. Stop hitting your head against the wall, trial and error, doing it over and over. Let's make data-driven decisions. I am your data-driven decision-making coach. That just distinguished him from all other consultants. So you get it? So a lot of times in the intensive, what you think has been your weakness, it actually becomes your USP. Make sense? Good. All right. Great questions. And this will be stuff we'll do in your intensive to really, really hone all of that. We go from the niche and then we go to the problem that you solve, your big promise, your USP. Then we look at your pricing, your packaging, then we look at your marketing and your messaging, and it's all, that's what I do in an intensive. So great question. I'm so glad. Do you feel like you got a little handle on your question?
Yeah, I guess I thought that there would be a concise statement for each person.
Sure. So a
And
concise statement would be something like beyond putting down the bottle, healing you within and within.
yeah, the
Or
data-driven decisions. Yeah.
beyond, how to make in leadership data-driven decisions. So they are, I don't have theirs right in front of me to give you their exact words, but that's
No,
what
I like
we
that
came
though.
up
That
with, that
helps.
they can, you should, and that's why I said to Karen, you should be able to communicate this instantly. You've got 10 seconds to make an impression, 30 seconds. And so as you're bringing in the speaking world and you're bringing people together, how is that different than all the conferences in the world? What's going to distinguish when they come to your conference? What's going to distinguish it, right? And
Right. Yeah. I kind of have like a line I came up with that it's getting closer and closer, but leading with purpose.
okay,
But that still doesn't say a uniqueness.
right,
So
right,
I'm getting
because
there.
and you just led me where I was going to say is that you start with a premise, if you will, okay? And so the premise, just pulling on Karen's example is, okay, every time we go to AA, we just focus, on stop drinking, but we're not moving forward. We're not healing. Like it's not enough, right? And also another distinction for her is that most of the people in the room were male. And so a woman didn't feel safe. There was a lot of crude jokes. There was a lot. So that was another USP. Hey, as a woman, we gather differently. We interact differently. Here's a safe place, and it moves beyond just putting down the bottle. So that can be work, but it is a very concise premise. And same for my book. What makes total soul prosperity different than all the teaching out there on prosperity, right? And so a lot of what you're going to do with this, Jennifer, is contrast. So she's picking some things to contrast, right? So you often hear me, how you can have total soul prosperity without striving. That's the contrast. Most of the model out there is the hustle model. It's the striving model. Most of the model out there is sacrifice model. Sacrifice your sleep, your family, your spiritual life to get prosperity, not total soul prosperity, not God's way. You feel so a lot of this coming up with your USP is going to be providing context, contrast. And that contrast can be through metaphors, or it can be just talking about the obvious. You're dealing, what we're seeing is we're going to go another route. Make sense? Good. Great questions. Great questions. I love that you're bringing these up. Okay. All right. Looks like Tracy is up next. I'm loving your questions. Jennifer, your hand's still up. So if you want to come back up, let me know. Otherwise, I'll have you put the hand down. All right. And okay, Tracy.
So still on the same topic. So for me, serving Christian women who have been caught in the cycle of diet culture and approach their relationship with food and body through that lens, it's called leaving the diet culture funhouse, and taking that idea of a funhouse and say, here these warped mirrors in the funhouse. And so I just kind of use that as the structure. So that instead of approaching nutrition and fitness from the lens of diet culture, and that just really get a better than just for your body. We're focusing on the spirit and the body and the mind and everything all together when it comes to fitness and health. So that leaving the diet culture funhouse, is that clear enough for a USP? Or
no, it's a concept, it's a premise. So you're getting there, you're on the road, you're pointed in the right direction. And so you bring up something super important, Tracy, and it's something also that I'm working on with many clients in intensives, and it's something I'm working on in my own book. I'm probably having my book. Here's a little mock-up of it, but having my book completely written many months ago, and thinking that some editing and revisions, it's ready to go. I'm on like the 15th revision. Which I heard people talk about that, and I had no idea that that's really what happens in a book of this caliber, of this nature, to be like bestseller material. So one of the things I've had to do that you have to do is, first of all, you cannot assume that people understand your lingo. So I don't understand diet culture. Like, I don't have a clear picture in my mind when you say leaving the diet culture. So what you need to do is create a word picture, a metaphor, something of what that stands for, or define it to know why yours is unique, why it's not that. First, you have to say what it's not. So what does that mean? It means I don't go on a diet, or does it mean or does it mean that diet is a lifestyle, or does it mean, because everybody considers themselves having, something, whether it's keto or paleo or vegan or, gluten-free or whatever. So are you saying that doesn't exist, or are you really saying beyond dieting? Or are you saying, is your premise that dieting doesn't work? Is your premise that, kind of like in the case of Karen, just because we already brought this example up, she's not saying AA or the 12th step doesn't work. It got her where she is. Okay. Dieting probably got you knowledge, got you, able to lose some pounds or whatever. So in that case, then it's a beyond model. Right? So in my case, I'm not saying making money or prospering financially is bad. Quite the contrary. I'm bringing a contrasting model, and I gave you a couple examples that doesn't involve striving, that doesn't involve sacrificing. So I'm taking what they know, and that I'm talking it out right now, but I can say that in 3 or 4 words, right? Prospering in every area of your life, or prospering mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, without striving, without sacrificing what matters most. I mean, you should be able to say it in a sentence. So you guys all have an assignment. Okay. I'm so glad that this stuff is coming up, and your courage to step up and ask. So you guys give her feedback. if she says the diet, say it again, diet fun house, say what you're
Diet culture fun, leaving the diet culture fun house.
leaving the diet culture fun house. Like, okay, for me, that doesn't mean anything. I could not walk away from that and explain it. I couldn't tell you what that is. Okay. So I'm
Mhm.
so glad you're bringing this up. Thank you for your courage, Tracy. So, how
Do you
about for
mean
you guys? When you hear that, what comes up for you?
do you mean the distorted mirror? Like fun houses to me are fun, but are you meaning the distorted mirrors in the fun house?
That's part of it, yeah. And that's where I
So we have
start
to
with
use
the
the word
mirrors.
distortions of diet. So the distortions of the diet culture, overcoming the distortions or overcoming the lies of the diet culture, overcoming the myths of the diet culture, overcoming the misconceptions. These are some, things to start playing with that's more tangible. Who else? Give Tracy some feedback.
I understand that what she's saying because I call diet is like die with a cross at the end because especially in the soda world, I feel like, so I kind of get it, but I don't know what that means that you do about
Good.
it.
Good point. Exactly. I should. And you notice, those of you that I've done an intensive and we create your package, you notice that it has a title. Okay. We name it. The very first thing I do when we start working on your packages, just did this yesterday for one of you. The very first thing we do is name it. Okay. And that name is super important. I think in the Garden of Eden, God took Adam and had him name the animals. When you're having a baby, one of the first things you do is name it, right? Because why? It has an identity, it has a DNA. So, your title, the name of what you do, or the description of the problem you solve, they should hear it. And this should be the response. Either I want that, I desire that, or I need that, or wow, that's what I've been praying for. So the title should communicate the transformation that makes them say, oh, me, please. Okay. So we always name it, focusing on the result or the transformation that makes me say, oh, yes, please, me. And then the subtitle is always the niche when I build a package. And the subtitle of the niche is who it's for, right? And so, if Karen was going to say, I don't have it. I'm just making up something really quick, but beyond the bottle to total healing. I'm just making up something random for women, faith-based women who have struggled with addiction and are ready to heal. I'm just making up something quick on the spot. I need time, but you get the idea that it should communicate very quickly the problem you solve and who you solve it for in everything that you do, including in your USP. I help, I coach, I equip, I empower, whatever it is, who to do what. And that what should communicate movement or quick win, to move from to. Okay, does that help a little bit? Anybody else? Feedback to Tracy.
When I think of dieting, I think of yo-yo. I don't know. I
Okay.
mean, that's a visual, and I don't really understand um the vision thing that you had. Because I don't know if the blurring or whatever, but I'm not saying it correctly, but yeah, the more clarity you can define it, I think
Yeah.
it's like such as, or the questions that she asked, because that would help define what do you really, something you can picture.
Super. Okay, so a couple good points that Jennifer just brought up. Another way of saying this, I'm saying this in many ways for you so that it lands, okay? Another way of saying this is you want to leave a movie in their mind that keeps playing long after that you said it, right? So you want to leave an impression that they keep on thinking about you. They keep remembering what it is that you're saying. Now, in order to do that well, they have to understand what you're saying. which means you have to know what's already in their head. So, like Jennifer, when you think of diet, I think about the things just that you've said, right? So Jennifer said, I think of yo-yo dieting. Okay, I guess I bet you another million women think the same thing when they hear the word diet, right? And Charla said, I think of diet with die in the middle, right? A lot of people have thought about that, right? So, and yet they continue to sell no stop because we're still looking for some kind of quick fix. So you have to, your job in marketing what you do is to understand where is the mind of your buyer, of your niche. What do they think about diets? What would be their words? And I often ask you this question, what is their now problem right now that they're staying up at night trying to find a solution for? So meaning you have to get into their conversation. This is what I've learned over 30 years in business. It's much easier for you to get into their conversation and speak their language than try to drag them and educate them into your conversation. Much easier. You guys follow what I just said? Because what we try to do is we try to educate them on how we believe, how we think, and we've got to bring them over there. So it's as if they speak Spanish, you speak French, and you're thinking, come on, let's bring your Spanish, I'll get you speaking French. It's much easier to come in Spanish and use the analogy that they use and speak the words they would say and think the thoughts that they would think and tell them how you can help them. If you
I
caught what
think
I just said, I just gave you $1 million idea. Did you guys catch that? It's learning if you can capture the words that your niche would say. I often do this in a comical way where people just start laughing, right? Because they describe what they do. And I said, oh, yeah, I can just see, your clients saying, and I put the words and they start cracking up. No, they would never say that, right? That's your words. That's not their words, right? So your ability to know and speak their words. Now, let me tell you, where does that come from? How do you do that? It goes back to what we do, that we're in constant conversation right now and we're listening and you're taking notes. And the more of your ideal people that you've talked to, what did they say to you? What did they complain about? What did they tell you? How do they see it? And you're capturing those words. Those are gold. And you're building your marketing. Most of my marketing is built on the words you guys have given me because that's where you are. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Tracy, I'm excited to hear your homework. I'm excited to see you work on this, and this is going to be a big breakthrough for you because you've got to communicate in a way that immediately they go, "Wow, that's me," and "Wow, I need that." So good job. Thank you for your courage and sharing and opening that conversation. It's a good one. Okay. I thought I saw a hand. Was it you, Karen, that you had your hand back up, or somebody had their hand back up?
I'd love to share if I could.
Who's speaking?
Barbara?
Okay. I gotta find you so I can.
Here, I'm here.
I know, there you are. Okay, it's just you weren't in the first group of thing. Let me bring you up front. Okay, Barbara, come on up.
All right. So yeah, you all know I've been re-clarifying my niche because it started as empty nesters, but I started attracting people that want the freedom to not work, right? So, and Tracy, this might help you in how you package the words because I think you have a good idea with the mirrors, but something like I came from the make it happen world where success meant burnout, busyness, and proving your worth. And now I help others build revenue with purpose, not pressure. Through my faith-based coaching and the fact that we are better together, I provide accountability in a group setting so that people can focus on the task at hand to generate revenue and live the life they want to live.
Good, good. Very clear. They're going to relate. I would still challenge you, Barbara. You can say that in less words.
I know.
Even still,
Yeah,
bring it down that you can say it in a sentence.
I know. It's so hard. So
I
yeah,
know it is, but you guys are just rising to the you're rising the cream that rises to the very top because you know there's too many words out there right now. And again, understanding where we are in culture, people are overwhelmed with the noise. Okay. So AI, I love it. It helps save 15 to 20 hours. There's profound ways to use it. But the downside that you have to look at where we are right now is it means that everybody is an expert. Everybody's putting out posts. Everybody's putting out, I just see it like a sea of words. There's just a sea of words right now, and things are moving so fast, and there's a feeling of overwhelm of I can't keep up, right? So when everybody, I've always been very contrarian, 30 years plus in business. When everybody goes this way, I go that way, right? So right now, when everything is going machine and automated, and I'm not saying that we don't automate because I want to save you lots of time. We automate in our businesses, but we don't speak machine. We don't speak automation. When everybody is speaking that non-human, we come in and humanize. So this is the time to say things very humanly, very succinctly, very clearly. If they have to think to figure out what you do, if they have to scratch their head to interpret what you offer in this season, when everybody's distracted and overwhelmed, you're going to lose them. So right now in this season, lots of margin, lots of clarity, lots of simplicity. Say what you mean in the fewest words possible, in the most powerful. Let every word count. And you started with it. You had it there, Barbara. You're not far. You had me in the first few words, and then you kept going and you started losing me. So pare all that down and be able to say it in a sentence powerfully. And then this is a conversation I've been having in my one-on-one coaching a lot. Okay. And we'll probably do teaching on this, but it's transforming some of my higher, my 7 and 8 figure companies. It's transforming how they lead. And I don't have time today in this, but I'm going to give just a hint of it. It's understanding feminine communication and feminine, energy, if you will. I'm not talking about looks, so that's why I'm using the word energy as opposed to masculine. Okay. And most of us as women, I'm talking to a group of women here, have been raised in a very masculine energy culture. And masculine gets you the promotion, it gets you the job, it gets you the degrees, it gets you, the clients. In the sense that, okay, masculine is logical, it's linear, it's directive, right? Whereas feminine is the open, the receptive, it's the heart, it's the body, it's the so I bring it up from this standpoint as to what we can do, bringing feminine into this very masculine driven business climate is to hold space. I have taught 8-figure earners the power of the pause because they're dealing with a room full of men, very aggressive testosterone, get it done, sales, insurance industry, that kind of stuff. And that feminine brings in presence, God's presence, brings in the ability to hold space. Okay, that's the feminine. We hold space for the vision. We hold space, right? We create margin. This is the time when everything's frenetic. This is the time for you to be the one that holds space for peace, right? Is what I'm saying make any sense at all to you? Is it opening? It's a whole different conversation we can't do in the last, 12 minutes here, but I will get more into it and teach more on that. So it's important right now. Let your words be few. Let them be meaningful. Use $10,000 words, not 10-cent words. 10-cent words are cliches, overused, not clear to understand. Everything you do right now, use less words and use $10,000 words, words that leave an image, words that evoke an emotional response, words. Is that hitting you guys where you are? Okay, does that help you, Barbara? I mean, you've gone so far, you're growing, and I mean, you've gotten so much clarity. You went from, not having clients in, going to 2 to 8, you're still scaling, you're doing well. So I'm not saying you're doing wrong. This is
Oh,
how
you're
you're
so
going to take
on
it.
point. I love, love, love what you're saying, because I went to this 2-day leadership conference at my church and it was really great, but there wasn't enough pause. And it was like, just that overwhelm.
You're
Was it good?
exhausted by the end. How much can we pack in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're catching. You got to experience it fresh to know what I'm saying. Really, really good. Love it. Okay. Let's see here. Anybody else have some things? Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up with a little bit of things to be thinking about. Anybody else have something pressing you want to go through?
I just wanted to state something I just wrote and see reaction real quick. We don't have to take much time, but I think I'm getting closer to standing in faith during the storm. So for women struggling with faith in their trials, not just the trial, but having faith. Um, so taking them from negativity and weakness to strength and a firm foundation.
You're moving in the right direction. You can clarify it still so much more, but you're coming up with a premise, which is the first step. You're coming up with the concept. And then now, how could you say that even simpler?
Okay.
And you said it, and you think about the most successful campaigns, you take, for athletes, Nike's Just Do It, right? Became known as, so something so simple that can really have legs and have wings, right? So you've got something really good right there. You've got a contrast of faith and storm, right? What would that look like? You're real close. Love it.
Okay.
You guys' homework is to be working on this and bring it next office hours. Let's encourage each other to greatness and put it to the test. Tell us in office hours and let your prosper sister say, wow, I got it. I desire that, right? Wow, that's clear. You'll know. And you'll know inside yourself. Okay. Just like Karen with her framework, she just knew. She's like, I got it, right? It's that kind of feeling. So that is part of your work before you come back. I want to talk a little bit, just wrapping this up in the last few minutes here, of where we are and what's super important, because one of the things, again, with all the noise and as solopreneurs trying to do so many things, a common question I get is, what do I work on? I've got a mile-long to-do list. I can't do it all. Like, what do I work on? Like, how do I spend my day? Can any of you relate to that? Like, what do I do during my day as a solopreneur to get maximum effectiveness? Yeah? Any of you relate to that? Okay. And so that has kind of a duality of, what do you do to grow your business, but what do you do differently in this season? What's changing that needs to be done differently? Because the truth is we're in a massive contraction and business is happening differently. And we've already addressed some of that through this call. That part of what is needed is just spot on. How do you help me? Like, clarity has never been more important. Like, you take me from where to where. What exactly do you do? It used to be that it could be fluffy. I help women elevate. I help them go to the next level. That says absolutely nothing and will go nowhere. Do you feel the difference? Okay. So knowing that this is going on, simplicity, humanizing, clarity. Let's talk about how do you do that right now. That's super important. For most of you, you're in a growing, you're not in a scaling. Okay, it's two different methodologies. Most of you are in a growing right now, meaning bringing in more clients, more cash flow. That's where you need to be. Later, it's putting in more systems and scaling, right? Because those things are in place. So if you're using the Prosper Daily Planner, which if you've worked with me at all, you are, this is the tool I've used for, it's on Amazon. If you don't know what this is, you're not familiar. This is the tool I've used to organize my days for, decades, and it's what I use with all my clients. There's something important that many of you are neglecting. Many of you are highly creative. You are so good at creating things. You're amazing, and it's fun for you, and you could just create all day long. How many creators do I have in the house? Raise your hand. It's just so fun creating. Yeah, look how all hands go up, right? Yeah. And that's beautiful. And you're going to keep on doing that. The balance of it that's so important right now is that you're bringing in clients, the sales side of things, and selling in this economy, and selling, in a faith-based way, in a congruent, heartfelt way. And so something that gets neglected a lot, many of you are, pretty strong on the morning spiritual practice and using the top part of this, and you make your declarations and all of these things, and maybe you're breaking down what you do and you're starting to do 20-minute routines and this kind of thing. But many of you, I want to know how many of you are filling out the bottom every single day. I want to celebrate you. Any of you are filling out the bottom every single day? Can I have a hand? Say a woohoo. Let us celebrate you. Are there any of you? The bottom. Okay. Jennifer, are you doing the bottom? Is that your hand? Congratulations. Woohoo. I celebrate that. This is so important. You've got to inspect what you expect. You have to focus on that which you want to expand. You have to move from only being a creator to being a CEO, to running your company. To running your company, you have to know your numbers. To know your numbers, you have to know every single day, how many leads are you bringing in leads? Do you have a lead generation system? Are you bringing in leads? And how many of those leads turned into calls? How many calls did you have? Now, this is if your model is selling a higher ticket that requires a call, then without any calls, you're not having any sales conversations, which means you're not having any sales, which means you're not getting clients, which means you're not making any money, which means you're in a very fragile position. Your business is not going to survive if that's your model. Okay, so calls, and from the calls, how many sales are you making? How much every day? How much income came in? How much went out? How'd you do today? This is called minding your business. Okay, this is paying attention. So right now in this contracted economy, one of the most important things is the know, like, and trust factor. It's you connecting human to human and building trust, building rapport, getting the place that they know, like, and trust you in conversation, whether it's a conversation on DM or a conversation of you going live. We're having a conversation here, right? A conversation where they know, like, and trust you. Are you creating places for that to be happening in DMs, right? By text. Are you creating a place for know, like, and trust? Are you having human conversations? That's the first question. Has to be happening every single day. What do I do? For most of you, you need leads, you need sales, you need income, you need capital, you need to be having sales conversations. And if you're neglecting that, you're neglecting your business and you're putting yourself in a very dangerous position. Okay. So know, like, and trust, human conversations. From that human conversation, you must be making offers. And I was showing, I think it was Karen I was talking to yesterday, and I was showing her my calendar, and I use colors. Most of you know I use colors on my calendar, and anything to do with business, money, making money is green on my calendar. So I can look at my calendar and see how much green it is. And then those calls are on my calendar. I can see them. I have my online calendar, but I like one at a glance on my desk. When I make an offer, I put a bright orange dot next to that name. So I can look and know how many offers did I make today? How many offers did I make this week? And I've done a lot of this in the Prosper Leader membership. Go look at the things I've talked about, offers. You have to be making offers. Now, of those offers, you need a very important offer in this day and age. Okay, once you know your niche, you know the problem you solve, most of you have a high ticket offer. You need an offer before the high ticket offer, okay, which is not a liquidation, not all that nonsense that you see in the marketplace, $7 and blah, 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 none of that stuff. I'm not talking about that. You need an offer that is a place that the know, like, and trust, that they can trust you and that they can experience a quick win. In this market, you have to be creating quick wins. So what's an offer that they could taste what you do and experience a win within the first 30 days? That's what's important right now. Now, this is not an offer that goes to a different audience. It's not an offer that goes to people that can't afford your offer and you're splitting yourself and you're working for free. No, this is for your ideal client. It is part of your customer journey. Okay. But in this season, you need to be having conversations that are very human, making offers, and have an offer that creates trust and an instant win and a success. And we'll talk more about that, and that can then quickly convert to your higher ticket offers. Make sense? So we'll get more into details of that, but I want to leave that thought. I want you to analyze and look, how many new people am I talking to? How many offers am I making? Am I being human? Am I bringing trust? What is my win that I can create? Am I helping them experience a win? This is designed just to stir the pot, get you thinking, and make sure that you're on that track. Make sense? Okay. I sure have loved this time. Have you loved this time? I want to make an offer real quick, and we're done. We're at 10 o'clock, but I want to make a really quick offer. I believe that God, the verse has been just jumping out at me, forsake not gathering together. I believe that people, for many in business, it's a bloodbath out there. I mean, they've lost 55% of their income. There's, 1.5 million, layoffs. They're in transition. There's a lot going on. I don't need to tell you all that. And this safe, beautiful community where women are getting results. It's faith-based, it's supportive. We're like linking arms and it's actually working. I mean, there's so much growth happening in this group. It's incredible. The amount of sales and clients and businesses launched and scaled. I mean, it's incredible what's happening. I'm going to be sending more and more emails about that here in this group. So my offer is, who do you know that really needs to be in this group? Who do you know? And I'm happy to talk to them, or let me know, invite them. We'll let them come and experience it once for free. And if they join the Prosper Leader membership, I'm going to offer the discounted $99, not the $197. So they can come in for the $99, get these office hours, get access to all my training, get these live masterclasses, get this support. Be part of this community. If you bring them in and you let me know, I know that it came from you, and they come in and for $99, I will give you a $45 credit toward your next month. So let's grow together. There's women that just need this so much. So I'm going to ask that you be thinking about who needs to be in this community and make an invitation. If you'd love me to talk to them, I'm happy to talk to them. Or if you want them to come in and just experience it for free and you introduce them, whatever works for you, let me know and we'll get them registered. Okay, so that's my offer today. Bring a new Prosper Leader member, $99, and you get a $45 credit toward your next month's. Sound good? Any questions, comments, ahas? Otherwise, I bless you. Go out there and make some offers and bring in some clients. All right.
Sounds-
Lots of love, ladies. Let's
Thank you.
go. Okay, bye.